Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarret Patton.
Welcome to episode 194 of Licensed to Live. My name is Dr. Jarret Patton, and I'm your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Just go to Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, and subscribe to the Licensed to Live show. And while you're there, please rate this episode and give me honest feedback so I make sure that I'm providing you with the most up-to-date information about career and life changes. When I say dissed, you know what I mean. I mean disenfranchised, disengaged, dissatisfied, all of the things that you may be feeling in your current job. And I'm telling you right now, in this episode, we have the Mailbag Chronicles number 3, and some people are getting a little frustrated out there based on some of the questions. So today, we're going to be talking about your speaking career, the current job market, and coaching in general. And we're going to get right into this episode right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarret Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, Licensed to Live, daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Licensed to Live, daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Hey guys, this is Janae Noonan, and I'm here with Dr. Jarret on Licensed to Live. Hit the subscribe, follow the journey. Let's go.
Yeah, this morning, as I was finishing up my EH3 coffee, I was sitting around doing some reading, and I went to reach into those inboxes. So, it's when you check in the mail, it's when I got to go through the messages on all my social media, respond to people. And here, as usual, we had a few good questions sent in from people, which is the premise for this entire episode. So if you want a question and we answer it and address it live on this podcast on the next Mailbag Chronicles episode, simply reach out to me. Give me a call, send me an email, or hit me up on social media at Dr. Jarret, spell out the word doctor, J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T, and we will get your question answered live on the air. We're going to dive right into the mailbag. Our first question comes from Gina. She submitted her question on Facebook and submitted it to Dr. Jarret. And she in essence says, I have an interest in doing more professional speaking. Where should I begin? Well, this is a great question. And to Gina and all you other fire starters out there looking at doing more professional speaking, well, let's start and take a look at this and what it means in your own life. Because truth be told is you've been speaking your entire career up until this point. You have been forced to communicate. You've been forced to talk to others and deliver messages. So it is a skill that you're continually working on. For me, my speaking career started way back when I was an undergraduate at Xavier University, and we were mandated to take a speaking class. And that speaking course actually made us have to stand up in front of the class, deliver speeches on random topics, and do some other things that made a big difference. And, you know, I'm going to claim that my speaking career started at least at Xavier University of Louisiana. XU, XXXXXXU, for some of y'all that know what I'm talking about. But from there, my career in speaking went on. And you go on to medical school, you have to give presentations. You know, when in my residency, I had to give presentations. And, you know, unbeknownst to me, at that time, I was already starting my speaking career. So for you, Gina, and all the fire starters who want to do more professional speaking, I'm going to give you guys a few tips of advice around your speaking that will make you a better speaker and more marketable across the U.S. The first thing I want you to consider, Gina, is where your expertise lies. And when I say expertise, it could be a broad category of things that you're an expert as. For example, myself as a pediatrician, well, I could speak about virtually any topic in pediatrics, but that's still pretty broad. What I would rather you do is try to bring your expertise down to a smaller focus. And if you have a particular expertise that you bring in a smaller focus, like for myself, instead of pediatrics as a general topic, I can talk about child behavior and particularly badass kids, since I wrote a book series to try to help parents engage and get better behavior out of their own kids. I tend to speak more on childhood behavior and less on general pediatrics as a whole. So finding that expertise, finding that interest level, and finding that niche, if you will, is one of the things that can help bring you out as an expert so that other follows. And of course, we've always talked about other, hard credentials like degrees that can give you some expertise, but then some other soft credentials like, perhaps authoring journal articles, perhaps writing some books, perhaps demonstrating your expertise in other ways, maybe by means of just, having a decent website out there about yourself. But find your focus and then move on from there. Now you say, well, Dr. Jarret, move on from there. What does that mean? Well, I'm not done giving tips on this, Gina. So the next part of trying to find that real niche in professional speaking that you're looking for is that you must understand people like to be entertained. People love to be entertained. Think about the entertainment industry. Think about everything that goes on, whether it's Broadway, whether it's the Emmys, whether it's the Grammys, whether it's the Tonys, whether it's TV, whether it's streaming, whether it's a series, whether it's something on YouTube, whether people are just scrolling their social media. People are looking for entertainment all the time. So even if you have a serious topic and lots of information you want to share, the other piece of what you need to do to heighten your professional speaking is to have that entertainment value. So it's like a phrase that was coined by KRS-One from Boogie Down Productions decades ago when he was talking about edutainment. There's some education that you want to deliver through your expertise, and there's some entertainment. I mean, think about how many conferences you may have gone to and how many times you've been sitting in an auditorium or conference room somewhere or a ballroom in a hotel, like if you came to one of the License to Live conferences, and you're sitting there and you said, geez, this is a lot of information I'm learning, but I'm falling asleep. And if you've gone to one of the License to Live conferences, you know that the speakers that come on that stage do have some expertise. They do have some education that they're willing to provide, but they also have a story, an extremely compelling story that backs up the message that they're trying to give. So you can find this story from anything that's happened in your life throughout your entire life. You can reach back to childhood. You can reach back to adolescence. You can reach back to your retirement. It doesn't matter. As long as you are coming up with that story, and the story doesn't necessarily have to be your own. It could be a story of a friend or someone you know, or perhaps a celebrity of person of interest that further highlights the points that you are going to try to make in your story. And it is this story that draws people in. It gives them the details. It provides this higher value in the knowledge that you're bringing, because now, instead of simply just giving factoids and tidbits and information, people can actually process the information through your storytelling. So storytelling becomes essential in your speaking career. And that's the piece that many people forget, because they just want to get up there and drill people with PowerPoint slides and give them more knowledge than they've ever been able to have before in their life. And that's not exactly the way I would want you to go. And Gina, you may say, well, great, I have expertise and I have a story, but I still don't know how to get started. Well, the last part is really the simplest part. It's for you to just get out there and do it. Just get out there and make it happen. So, well, how do you do that? Do you join a speakers bureau? No, not necessarily. You don't have to do that. Do I join in some other community group? No, you don't have to do that either. But what you can start to do is look at the 4 C's and do a Google search around the 4 C's in your area, and start with delivering your message locally. Because at the end of the day, you need practice. At the end of the day, to deliver your performance and become a highly rated speaker, you need to be speaking all the time. So it's not something you do once a year or twice a year. It's something that you're aiming to do several times a year, maybe even a couple of times a month when you're hitting a stage. And it's that practice that gets you there. Now, going back to the 4 C's, what are the 4 C's? Well, simply, it's churches, conferences, colleges, and corporations. Each one of these groups of entities will provide you with another platform in which you can speak. I've spoken at, a dozen and a half colleges over my speaking career. You often are going to look for corporations. And some of you guys have seen some of my pictures when I go out and do corporate talks, whether it's for pharma or whether it's for a large organization like Porsche. That is yet another way to demonstrate the message and the passion that you want to go. Your local church, you may have a message that you want to speak in your own faith group that is also applicable to everyone. And then, of course, you're going to look at conferences, and you can look at conferences that are coming in your area, conferences that may highlight and speak to your expertise and the way you want to get things done. So there, when you look at those four major groups, there are lots of opportunities for you to speak. Now, everybody comes to me, Dr. Jarret, I want to get paid for this type of thing. And certainly you can get paid. There's definitely a paid market in there, but that may not be the first step that you make. You may want to just deliver a few of these for little or no money, depending on the budget of some of these places, to make sure that you have your material ready. It's tested on audiences. You can see how they react to it and get it going. But the pay will come. As you become a more in-demand speaker, you're delivering great addresses. People want you to show up at their events and bring the energy to their events. So, Gina, starting your speaking career is a very, very simple thing because you already have expertise. You need to determine what that story is in your life that will highlight your expertise. And then you start Googling the 4 C's and see who is out there, who may be coming to your town, and something that you can join in by sharing your knowledge. Lots of people will let you enter their stages for free. And then as you're doing some of these free talks or, cover my expenses for travel and lodging talks, you'll get talks that become bigger and bigger, and they become with corporations or entities that have larger budgets. And then they can look out there and see that you do speaking. You'll see you have a speaker website. They'll see that you have spoken at other places, and they'll probably even have a couple of video clips of you out there. And those things help you get in. And then at that point, when you have those type of things, joining a speakers bureau or some other professional speaking engagement will be much easier for you because then they can see you are a professional speaker. So thanks, Gina, for sending that message in. And I hope that these tips help you level up on your speaking career. My next question comes from Dr. Simon, who messaged me on Instagram. And he says, why is it so difficult to even get an interview, let alone land a new job in this current job market? Dr. Simon, this is a great question, and I'm so glad you asked it because a number of people have been asking me this, and some people have even taken me up on a free strategy session at Time with Dr. Jarret. Simply go to Time with Dr. Jarret, and you can get your own free strategy session with me in order to help fix a problem in your own career. And I've been talking to lots of people who are having difficulty in finding employment and what happened already. And Dr. Simon, I don't know what kind of jobs you're looking into, what you've tried, but what I will tell you, even people that have worked their entire life, don't have any gaps in their work history, have never had any run-ins or scuffles with the police or anything that may throw their employment off, are having some difficulties. And this is hard to understand when you're looking at the U.S. jobs report saying, oh, this many more 100,000 jobs were added. And when you're looking at the employment reports and saying, oh, unemployment is at a very low level. And you say, well, it should make an easy environment to get to getting an interview, getting a job. Well, I know it's not that easy, folks. And I don't want you to get totally discouraged on this because, well, the current process and the current issues that are going on in a lot of this is that many people are using AI and computers and other things to aid their job search, because now people can send in resumes or cover letters, or they're applying to jobs very easily. So recruiters and HR officials who are tasked with hiring people often get overwhelmed, and they can't possibly go through all of the information that comes to them. And so they're using shortcuts to get the applicants in their pool. Now, this is unfortunate because, frankly, I think that many of these corporations that are looking for employees are really missing out on some good employees by screening them out. Just as you said, Dr. Simon, they don't even get an interview or a call, and they simply get the autoresponder at the end of the search saying, we're going to move on. If you get that, because some people are saying they never hear anything from anybody, and maybe they try to reapply to the job only to find that the job has already been filled. So the days when there was a nice, oh, thank you for your interest in our job, we are going to review your CV and all of the things that you can possibly bring to us, and we'll get back to you. And then they follow up and say, hey, we saw your stuff. We think you're going to be a good fit. We'd like to give you an interview, and then another interview, maybe even a third interview. And then finally say yay or nay, whether or not you get the job. It just doesn't work like that how it worked in the early 2000s, how it worked in the early 2010s. It is just a different world out there. And then this is coupled with this overall labor market where certain sector salaries really haven't caught up with the inflation. And so people don't even have, desirable offers when it gets to that piece. So there's a lot going on in this information, Dr. Simon. There's a lot going on with the job market overall, but the best advice I can give you now to at least help you get around the AI and computer screening stuff is that the truth is you may have to modify your CV several different times, or maybe every different time you apply for a job, because you're going to have to stuff it with keywords that are very, very specific to the job that you're going to. So you're going to have to do research. You're going to have to talk to other people, if you can talk to people in the corporation, but it's going to be much more labor intensive. So instead of just making your job search, oh, this seems interesting, apply, be a little bit more discretionary with the jobs you are looking for and what you really want. And whether you make a list and write all the things down that you like in your current job and you'd like to keep that, and then know the things that you don't like and those things you want to get rid of. But you're additionally looking at trying to communicate through this application portal or your CV why you are exactly what they're looking for. So you're going to just do a little bit more homework and research on the places. Look at the mission statement, look at the values, and match your CV to the talent expectations that they are looking for. And this is whether you're using recruiters or a recruitment firm, or you're applying directly to a company about this. Yes, the job market has changed. Yes, the application process has changed. Yes, AI and computers are much more involved in the hiring process than they ever used to be. But Dr. Simon, I don't want you to give up. It is tough out there, but realize there is the perfect job out there for you. And all you have to do is have faith, have some patience, and it will all come together. So think about simply revising your CV, revising your mission statement or your cover letter, and make sure it directly matches the place that you're writing. So a lot of times people just have one cover letter, one CV, and they're sending it out to a bunch of places. Make that little tweak. Finding a job ain't as easy as it used to be. So you're going to have to do a little bit more, but in the end, you will succeed. Our next question involves coaching, and it actually was sent in anonymously. They wanted to be anonymous, but they sent it to me on X, formerly Twitter, at Dr. Jarret. Spell out the word Dr. J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And because that may involve a long-winded answer to this question, we will talk about it right after we finish thanking our sponsor.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarret's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarret.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
As I said earlier in the show, anytime you want to reach out to me, it's easy to do. You can simply give me a call or go to Time with Dr. Jarret. Schedule yourself for a free, absolutely free 30-minute strategy session. We talk about your situation in detail and we get you those next steps. Reach out to me. So on X, I get an anonymous question and it simply asks, Dr. Jarret, how did you get into coaching? Well, it is a long story because my intended career path didn't match up with my actual career path. In fact, my intended career path went something like this. Go to college, go to medical school, go to residency, work as a doctor, work as a leader, rise up in leadership, become a more and more senior leader, having the pinnacle at maybe chief medical officer of a large academic institution, or perhaps even being the CEO of a large academic institution. And I built myself up going all the way through gearing myself for that. So I was investing in leadership training. I was investing in a lot of things for myself to make me a better leader. Of course, you're going to always make yourself the best physician you can be. You're taking, new courses in that. But my real interest was around leadership and making change for the masses, and not necessarily individual by individual as I can in a clinic or an office. But I wanted to have a bigger impact that would be spread across a larger area. And that's why I was into leadership so much. I mean, I really did go through a lot of courses, either by the American College of Healthcare Executives, the American College of Physician Executives, and the American Association of Physician Leaders. So we have all of these different things that are there. And I thought I was on my way, but well, things go bump in the night sometimes. And I had an event happen to me at work that made it nearly impossible for me to stay on that journey. In fact, I lost my job. I lost my medical licenses, and I was left with nothing. All of that work that I had built and developed over decades to make myself better, make myself serve my community to a fuller extent, evaporated overnight. And if you really want to know the details, rather than, going through the long License to Live story, you can check it out in License to Live 1. I highlighted some of the events in License to Live Daily Affirmations as well. Or you can just go on YouTube and look at any of my speeches where I've really told that story. But my career path changed and I did not know what to do. So thankfully, I ran into a coach online who took special interest in me and said, "Hey, you're in a tough situation, but I don't want you to worry. I'm going to save you." And at that moment in my life, I said, you know what? If somebody's telling me that to my face, that's something I should listen to. And I enrolled in his coaching program and learned lots more things about myself and leadership and business that I ever have. Learn more about speaking, learn more about the media. And all of those things opened up a brand new world of possibilities. And it was during this time I was already writing License to Live #1, Perimeter Rebuilding Your Life After Your Career is Shattered. And it was during the time I was going through the coaching that I actually published and released that award-winning book. And from there, everything took off. And I realized there were a lot of people like me who maybe weren't satisfied with their job. They were down on their job. They thought that maybe it would not work out to their best benefit. And they didn't know where to turn. They were sad. They were never heard from again. Maybe some of them even were lost, meaning lost to suicide. And I knew at that point I had a new mission that I wanted to help people realize they can have delight in their career and their life, particularly when they can frame parameters around what they want to do. So I started helping people, and it was largely doctors in the beginning that were struggling with finding the right job for them, or they wanted to develop their own niche. And I helped them along the way to build themselves up as a speaker, build themselves up as a media expert. Some of them became authors, best-selling authors, and I coached them through these processes. And one of my clients was actually just interviewed on Dr. Phil because we took a strategy that would make him the obvious choice in media, in medicine, and everything. And it all came up to fruition. So me being able to help people, and I said I started mainly with working with doctors and physicians, but then I started working with nurses, and then I started working with healthcare executives like CEOs of hospitals, and then I started working with people outside of healthcare. And the issues remain the same regardless of the industry you're in. It's about how you invest in yourself, how you build up to that. And people often say, Dr. Jarret, are you going to ever go back to medicine? Well, not as I used to and be a day-to-day pediatrician in the clinic. That I think I'm not going to do anymore. As much as I like it, I still keep my board certification up. I still keep my licenses active in multiple states, but I just don't have the passion for that, because by helping the clients in my coaching practice, I realize that I am coaching other major leaders that are making major changes in their organizations. They are branching out, starting business opportunities on their own, and they are making a huge difference. And I relish their successes. I love to see people win. So it is up to me to make sure I help you win. So to Anonymous, I never, if you ask me even as short as 10 years ago, hey, would you ever decide being a coach? No, because I was too set on becoming a chief medical officer or chief executive officer of a place. But I can't tell you how my life has changed for the better. My career has changed for the better. And I still get to have the passion of helping people on a day-to-day basis. So it's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe. And while you're there, make sure you're giving me feedback so I make sure that I provide you with the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And most importantly, if you're giving me 5-star ratings, more people will hear this message, more people will get help. And when you're looking at the Mailbag Chronicles Volume 3, I'm giving out great tips and advice for all of you guys that you can use in your own lives. So please keep bringing in the questions, keep bringing in the comments. There'll be another Mailbag Chronicles, but this is it for Mailbag Chronicle Volume 3. And I will see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarret's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.